Hiya and welcome back to our little cosy corner of the internet and the spiritual gateway. This is episode 3 of Lounge of Light Conversations on Consciousness. We're glad that you're all back with us. So this episode is a little bit different. It ended up being a really long episode.
3 hours.
Yeah, basically a 3 hour long conversation. So you guys aren't going to want to sit there for 3 hours. Well, maybe you will, but we wanted to make it a little bit easier. So what we've decided to do is split this specific episode up into 3 episodes. So technically this is episode 3, and then we're going to release episode 4, which is the next part of it next week. And again, episode 5, which is the final part of the conversation the week after. Just kind of to allow... 1, so you don't have to sit there for 3 hours, and 2, so you can kind of digest the information that we're talking about, because we do touch on some quite deep subjects.
There's a lot of things in this one that we touch on.
So over like the whole 3 hours, we've discussed manifestation,
trusting the guidance that you get from spirit.
Yeah, from spirit and your inner guidance, and how important that is, and how actually when you surrender to it and just trust it, no matter how crazy it is, it can lead to some really spectacular outcomes.
We talk about the higher self and how the higher self guides us, and not always in ways that we'd want. Yes,
but always in ways that we need or another person needs, which then leads on to the next part of this episode where we start talking about NPCs,
different perspectives on
NPCs,
and what we feel.
Yeah, our perspective on it. We actually bring in the Fool's Journey from Tarot into that, and we start discussing how the life story is very similar, or basically is the Fool's Journey, and how each part of, say, like the dark night of the soul, the ego death, the midlife crisis, the shadow self, that's all kind of comes out through the Fool's Journey.
We talk about reincarnation, we talk about angels.
We talk about angels, again, angles of light. We talk about the reincarnation trap and the false light.
With a new perspective.
So that's a really interesting part. You'll notice through the video, we both kind of had a couple of downloads whilst we were talking about different perspectives. We don't want to give too much away. So you're definitely going to... The reincarnation trap, the false light, and with the new perspective that came in, is in the 3rd part.
Which sort of takes us into ancestral or generational traumas.
Yes, and that's the new perspective that dropped in, wasn't it? About the ancestral and generational traumas and what that's actually about.
We talk about starseeds.
Yes, we do. We start talking about starseeds. We touch on hybridization.
Yeah.
A smidge. What else do we discuss? I think that's kind of everything.
There are a few other things, but that's more or less it.
Yeah, but basically that's the entirety of sort of the next 3 episodes, should we say, so episodes 3 to episode 6. We had great fun discussing all these. We learned some new stuff.
Yeah, we did.
And it's also given us more food for thought, more rabbit holes we need to go down. And as always, we're really grateful you're here with us. And as always, if you want to drop anything in the comments, if you have any thoughts on anything we've spoken about, you want to join us in any of these episodes, you're more than welcome to do so. It would really help us if you give us a like. If you share this, any comments, it really, really does help us.
And subscribe.
Oh, and subscribe, because you'll get notified when the next one drops. But yeah, get your favourite beverage, get some biscuits, because you'll notice in part 2 when chobbling on biscuits as we're talking. But yeah, get comfy, get settled in, and welcome to episode 3.
Since leaving school, so in school I had female friends in middle school, but I always struggled with female friends. Found them a little bit difficult. Not sure why really, nothing against females, but just found them more more difficult to get on with than male friends.
Yeah.
I felt a lot more comfortable in male company.
Yeah.
So when I sort of got to high school, especially towards the last years of high school, I kind of followed my sort of what I wanted to do more rather than what was expected of me, and I just started hanging out with male friends.
Yeah.
I had one female friend who is still my friend to this day, so she was obviously meant to be, because I've been friends with her for years. But other than her, the rest of my friendships were all male. And then when I left school, I made a very conscious decision that all my friends were going to be men, and I didn't really have many female friends from late teenage years up till, say, 35. Well, no, older than that. So up until, so I'm 44 now, so up until about 41, 42, it's just men, and I always have male friends.
Why did you make a conscious decision to only have male friends?
Because I made probably an incorrect judgment and decided that females were not nice people.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's incorrect judgment. I think that was correct based on your experiences at the time.
Yeah.
But
I
wouldn't call it incorrect.
I've always struggled to fit in. I'm certainly one of those people that struggles to fit in. I always seem to be the oddball and a little bit different. And I found that if I was going to fit in anywhere, it was better with men.
Yeah.
Because they were more accepting of me and all my flaws or anything like that.
Yeah.
There was no judgment. And so it was easier. It was just easier. It's not necessarily that I didn't want female friends, but it was easier to have male friends.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because like, women can be very... I don't think they purposely do, but we can be very judgy of other women sometimes, and I think it comes from a place of lack in ourselves. So we might see another woman who's got like beautiful hair and the makeup's all done and all that, and we start judging them. Oh, look at them, who do they think they are, or whatever. But really, it's from a place of lack within ourselves, because we would like that, but yet we haven't made, you know, the conscious decision to do that, like maybe look after ourselves, go get our hair done, put our face on. So instead, our shadow side comes out, and it comes out as like very judgy towards somebody else.
I get you, yeah.
So that might be why.
So
not all women, I'm just mostly a lot of younger women, like girls and women are like that.
I agree, and I think I mean, this is no disrespect towards my mum and my sister, because I love them both to bits. And I've always felt comfortable in their company. They're my family, so it's totally different. It's not friendship, it's relatives. But they are the absolute female. Yeah. You know, Natalie won't leave the house, even if it's just to go and get some sugar from the local shop without her makeup on. Yeah. You know, and that's fine. I'm not judging that, but it's not me.
Yeah, but that's also fine.
And yeah, so as well, I think what it was, although I felt more comfortable with males, maybe I had a slight fear of females. Okay. So I can't even remember how long ago it was now. Go back. So I'm coming up to 44 this weekend. So if we
Happy birthday!
If we go back to 40, 41. Yeah.
When you met me.
What happened was now I've been a mum for a very long time. I've been a mum for 20. How old is my oldest? I've been a mum for 25 years. So that's how long I've been a mum. So that's also how long. Well, to take away the 5 years before they go to school, I've been a mum. I've been going on the school run for 20 years.
Wow, mate. Wow. How long have I been doing the school run? How old's Cody? 14. Oh my god. Started at 10 years. So 10 years of my life.
It's not bad.
I know, but 10 years doing the school run.
It's better than 2020.
Snores.
So going to the school for Luke, the older one, I was always the mum that stood in the playground, because there's not many dads. I mean, I know you shouldn't look at it this way.
You know what? There's quite a lot of dads on my school run.
Is there?
Yeah, I'd say it's 50-50.
It probably is better now. Go back 20 years
20
ago,
years, yeah.
It
mostly
was
mums.
It was all mums. And I was the mum that stood on her own, never interacted, because they were all women. And I think if they'd have been males there, I'd have probably ended up making some friends on the school run.
Yeah.
Because you do, don't you? You mingle on the school run and you start talking.
School mum friends.
But I was the mum that didn't have any friends. And I like that. It was a choice thing. And I think there were even times when other mothers come up to me and tried to interact and kind of thought, no, I won't bother anymore because I was a bit, what do you want? You know what I mean? So yeah, and then my other child as well with him, who's kind of 15, so it's very similar to Luke, still very much the same. But now I've got the two small ones that are in school, in the first school now. So they're 8 and 7. 9 and 7.
He's just had his birthday in her defence.
He has only just had his birthday, so that's fair enough that I got that wrong. So 9 and 7.
Yeah. We're not doing very well with the dates and the maths today. This is what happens when you have
too many children.
Well, that's why I stopped at 2. Thank you.
So, yeah, get to the point, Vic. So I now go to the school, and at first I didn't talk to the mums. I still tried to be very much how I used to be. Mm-hmm. But I could feel that my guides were like, you need to start speaking to these ladies. Give them a chance. Give the females a chance. Mm-hmm. And so eventually there was one lady, I'm not going to say who, but one particular lady, and she seemed to take a shine to me, but she was female. Mm-hmm. And I was a bit... But she was kind of like, every time I saw her, she made conversation. And I was really getting this overwhelming guidance that, you know, you have to interact with this woman. This woman needs to be part of your life. She's important. And it was more than just, she wants to be your friend. There was a reason, and I could tell. Mm. And I knew I was getting that guidance that this woman needed to be in my life for some reason. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't work out why. Now, you aren't in my school. Your child is not at my school, is he?
No, we don't. Well, we live... Well,
we live in
5-minute drive
area,
away, but different schools, different circle of friends.
And so anyway, I followed the guidance, and I remember making friends with this lady, and she actually asked me to go around for a coffee. And I remember coming home and speaking to my partner and saying, I'm not comfortable, I don't like it. And my partner was like, so why have you agreed to go then? Because I was a bit shocked myself when you said you were going around there for a coffee, because you don't normally bother with, you know, the female friends. And I was like, because something's telling me I've got to. And this is the truth. I was like, I've got to do this. I've got to become this woman's friend. And I don't know why. So I became this woman's friend. Mm-hmm. And in all honesty, from day one of being this woman's friend, and this is going to sound bad, but I'm only my observation, she was throwing off all the reasons why not to be friends with a female.
Okay.
She was giving me all the vibes. And I knew. I kept thinking... I felt so torn, because my intuition was saying, be her friend, you've got to be her friend, see it through. But then my instincts in my human self, which I'm normally very good at, was saying, this isn't a good person. Mm-hmm. Not because she was female, she just yeah. And I suppose for the first female friendship, it probably wasn't the best. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But then... what happened is this is where you come into it. She then said, oh, I have a friend. Well, she's actually somebody that does my nails, because you used to do nails. Mm-hmm. And I would never have gone and got my nails done.
No, you never would have done.
Because, look, I don't do nails, really.
No, and I used to do nails, and look, I still don't have my nails done.
Special occasions, I'll have my nails done. But as a rule, I wouldn't. And if I was going to go and get them done, I'd probably have gone with my sister. Mm-hmm. So she'd have took me, because she lives in a different area. Yeah,
you'd have gone to like a salon.
I'd have gone to another place. I'd have gone somewhere, wherever she goes. Or my mum. And she said that she had you were her friend, and that you were into similar spiritual type things that we were into. And this lady was into spiritual stuff as well. But even though she had this common interest with me, I knew she wasn't... I got the vibe from her that it was just no. Mm-hmm. And eventually, she introduced me to you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she said to me about you that we'd get on really well because we were both into starseeds and the ET beings, and she didn't know anyone else other than you that was kind of into that. And she was like, oh, you've got to meet her because you'd get on really well with her. I was like, okay, cool.
So we met, and then we started meeting up as a free. And then eventually, I suppose this lady's true colours came out, and now we are a two.
We are a two, yes.
So we're not friends. We don't speak to that lady anymore.
Unfortunately, no. But everything happens for a reason.
But if I had not became friends with her and followed my intuition and gone, you know what, even though my human body is going no, my intuition is saying yes. If I hadn't have followed that intuition, I would never have met you.
No.
We would not be sitting here now doing this.
No.
We would never have started the Spiritual Gateway. And we would never have had a friendship. And even though you're female, you are one of my best friends.
Yes.
So...
It's cool and badass.
But it's weird, isn't it? And I don't have... And then since meeting you, what I have done is, because you've helped me come out of my shell quite a lot.
Oh.
And you've encouraged me to try new things, do new things. And we've been to retreats and things like that. And we've ran circles, which is mainly we've had females, haven't we?
We have, yeah. There were all females at circles.
And at the retreat there was a lot of females.
There was a lot of females, so you've kind of had to step into their feminine energy
I've
a lot
had
more.
to embrace the feminine energy, and my opinion on having female friends has now changed.
Oh, see?
So
I changed your life.
well, I think my guides were like, it's about time that you gave the females a chance again.
Yeah, but I think as well, more so, they were, because, like, let's face it, we're a soul family. We found out through various ways and means that we were destined to do this. And like you said, if there would have been no other way we would have met, like you say, you didn't used to get your nails done. We didn't run in the same circles.
No.
I don't live around here. Our kids don't go to the same school. You know,
We might have walked past each other
maybe.
as the shopping.
Yeah, I wouldn't have met you, say, in the pub, because I like to go to the pub, you know, once every so often. You don't.
No.
So I'd never have met you that way. We don't even have friends who are friends.
No.
So we would literally never have met. So you were...
And it's weird how that one lady who was our mutual friend at the time, it was short-lived.
It was.
She served a purpose. It's obvious to me now that she became your friend and my friend just to bring us together.
So like when your guide, so you were following your intuition then, your guide's like, you need to do this again. So everything that your not natural self was like, no, why? But you followed your intuition and it led to me.
Yeah.
No, but it led to something that you were supposed to have. So if you'd ignored that and gone, no, I'm not doing that,
Well, this wouldn't have happened.
this would not have happened. And that's a lot around.
They may have tried again in a different way.
Oh, of
You
course,
don't
yeah.
know.
It was supposed to happen. It's supposed to
If
happen.
it's
They
meant
would.
to be, it's meant to be.
But it would have took longer, and so on and so forth. So it brings to highlight the importance of listening to our inner guidance, listening to our guides, spending the time to be still and connect and receive the guidance they're trying to give us. Because at the end of the day, everyone has kind of like a view for what they want their life to be like, and our guides are there to help support us to get us to that point. But unless we listen and we take the risks, because a lot of the times the advice you're being given is something that you might not necessarily want to be doing, but you know, you take the risk and do it, and it always pans out really well.
And I think that, like you just said, it's not necessarily something that you want to be doing. It's sometimes from the human perspective, you could think, why on earth would I do that? It doesn't make any sense until it does make sense.
And so it's weird with obviously the mutual friend that we had, because obviously I used to do nails, so I was doing her nails for quite some time, and then we had like lockdown and stuff, so I wasn't able to work at all, so I stopped doing her nails, and then as you do when I returned back to work, no, I'd stopped doing her nails before lockdown actually.
Oh, had you?
Yeah, she kind of hadn't stopped. She stopped getting them done anyway. I think I can't remember exactly why, but yeah, she stopped having them done a bit before lockdown actually. And then lockdown came along, and then obviously when I got back to work, I, funnily enough, I've always been obsessed with crystals. I've become a little bit obsessed with wire wrapping crystals to wear for necklaces. And my inner guidance was telling me to start doing it and advertise them to sell. So I was like, oh, so maybe this is a way I can kind of make a bit of extra money on the side, because I had been thinking, you know, as much as I love doing the nails, physically it was really destroying my body. So I was like, oh, it could be a way I can make extra money on the side and I can step away from the nails a bit. So I started doing that. I started wrapping them and advertising them. And I hadn't spoken to her for ages, but we were like friends on Facebook. And she saw one that I'd done. It was like a moon, and I'd wrapped, I can't remember exactly what, but she saw one that I'd done. And she messaged me and was like, oh, I really love that. I've bought a crystal, but it's not wrapped very well. Would you be able to rewrap it for me? So yeah, no problem. So I went round, we had a chat. I hadn't seen her for ages, and obviously the last time I saw her, it was more in like a business context, as in I was providing a service for her, but this was like more of a friendly thing. So I was chatting to her, and we got on to talking about kind of, she was like, oh, so I didn't realise you were into like energy work and spirituality and all that. And I was like, yeah, I always have been. I just kind of, it got put to the back burner and everything, and then lockdown came along and I had a lot more time to focus on it, which was lovely. And she was like, yeah, I love it too. And, you know, we just got started chatting. So I rewrapped a crystal for her, and then she messaged me again and was like, I'd really like you to make me a moon one. So I was like, cool, okay. So I made her a moon one, and we got chatting again, and then she started talking about you and how, you know, she had this friend who was also into all the stuff that we were into, but specifically like the ET beings and the star seeds. And I was like, oh, cool, wow, she sounds amazing. Like, set something up. So she did. But it was weird, and I think I remember having this conversation with you. Before all that started happening, I was kind of like mad into manifesting, and I was manifesting like a friend who really got me, because it's so difficult when you kind of come out of the 3D world and start realising kind of how the world works, and it's all a bloody lie, and it's all fucking fake and everything. And I was trying to have conversations with like my normal friend circle, and they were just looking at me like blank in the face.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
They're looking at me like, are you on drugs? And I'm like, no, I'm not on drugs, because I'm talking about aliens, and I'm talking about times when I've meditated and I've gone and I've met Arcturian beings in my meditation. And they're like, what are you on? And I was like, it's as much as I love my friends, and I do, I really needed to have somebody who I could just have these conversations with, because it just felt so mind-numbing trying to dumb myself down all the time.
And it's lonely.
It is lonely. And it's not dumb myself down, but it's like I can't have these existential conversations.
Yeah.
And I need to have these existential conversations that someone's staring at me like I'm on crack.
Yeah.
So I was manifesting a friend who just got me.
Yeah.
And then I met you. And then we had the conversation, and you said you'd been doing the same thing.
I have. I've been manifesting the same thing.
And it's like the universe just provided us.
It was weird though, because you, as well, a lot of people are into spirituality.
Yeah.
It's not unusual really for somebody to believe in an afterlife. People do.
Yeah.
And you can find friends where you can sit down and say, oh, have you ever been to a medium? Have you ever been to a psychic? And you can have those conversations. Yeah. Or even a friend that's not even that into it, but would say, oh, I'm up for going for a reading with you.
Yeah.
You know, that's quite normal. But to find a friend that lives so close by that is actually into the star seeds and things, that is a lot more rare. And I felt like that as well, that and especially with the whole coming out of the 3D world and the awakening and all that, that even my friends such as that lady that we were just speaking about that were into spirituality, they didn't extend it to the next level.
Yeah.
And I remember going on YouTube to watch channels where they would talk about starseeds, or they would talk about what's going on in the world from, you know, the other perspective, that all of what people call conspiracy theories.
But they're not conspiracy theories.
No. And I think this is great. I can go on YouTube and I can resonate with all this information, but these people are scattered all over the world, and I've not ever found anybody in my county, let alone my town, who resonates with this stuff. And then you were only down the road.
Literally. It's so funny. But if I hadn't have listened to that little, like, very subtle guidance of start wrapping crystals,
right,
I probably would never have reconnected with that lady.
You wouldn't have. No.
I mean, I would have done at some point, because we were supposed to meet, like, soul family. You are supposed to meet your soul family, and when you're starting doing the things you're supposed to do and you're following the guidance, you do come across them. But if I hadn't, and I'd been like, I'm not sitting there wrapping crystals. I mean, do I wrap crystals now? No. I might occasionally see one and think, oh, I'll wrap that for myself, but I haven't. Once I met her, I stopped doing it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I still have all the stuff to wrap all the crystals, but I have no urge to do it.
No.
So
you were doing that because that's
they were like trying to guide me. Do it. You'll meet this lady. This lady will bring you to the person you're supposed to meet. So just do it.
But also, it kind of shows the other side of the coin as well, because even though for that particular lady, she was meant to bring us together, there was a purpose also in that for her. Okay. I don't know what that is, and that's not for me to find out. That's not for me to understand or try and analyse, because it's not my path. But there would have been something in that whole thing for her too.
100%.
So there would have, her guides would have probably been saying, for whatever reason she needed to meet us at the time, even though it was to bring us together from our perspective, whatever it was from hers, her guides would have been saying to her, why don't you start looking at wrapped crystals? You know? And so it's weird how it all orchestrates.
Exactly. And it was a risk for me to start wrapping those crystals, because it was lockdown. I wasn't earning any money. I'd not, with the stupid rules, I'd started my business in 2019, but because I hadn't got a year's worth of books from that date, I wasn't able to claim any of the things they were giving to people who had got businesses. So I was literally earning no money, getting no income, and it was a risk for me to have to buy the stuff to start wrapping these crystals, because it wasn't, I had to buy the people was asking me to do it. I had to buy those crystals, but I had to get all the wire and all the tools and everything. So I had to take, it wasn't a huge risk, we're not talking thousands of pounds, but it was still a risk, because I'm like, well, I've got no money. This is stupid, but I did it, and it didn't lead me to millions and millions of pounds and a fantastic business in wire wrapping, but it did lead me to a hopefully.
And eventually, I mean, with the business now we're building, you will get that money back.
Oh God, yeah,
you still do.
Yeah. And I did make the money back, because I did sell some. So I did make the money back, but initially I was like, well, who's good? Because you look at some people's wire wrapping creations and they are phenomenal.
Right.
And I did want to learn how to do the stuff that they were doing. I just thought it was amazing. Obviously, mine weren't at that standard. They were very pretty and very well made, but they weren't at that standard. And I completely lost where I was going with this. What was I saying? Wire wrapping. Phenomenal.
It was meant to be anyway.
It was just meant to be. My train of thought, they're like, yes, you've talked about that enough now.
Yeah, so I think the point is that what we're saying here is that it's important, no matter how strange, different, weird, scary, not you, something might feel, if you're getting that guidance and it is your intuition and it is your guides coming through and it's that strong, you've got to follow it, because
that'll lead you to what you're supposed to have.
They know. They see
the bigger picture.
And everything is all happening now.
Yeah.
So it's like when Anthony Peake talks about the long body.
Oh, this isn't a theory I've heard.
Okay, so I'm going to get this wrong.
That's okay.
We'll try. So,
sorry, Anthony.
Yeah. So it's from the fifth dimension.
Don't ask me because I don't know. This is new information. Well, we're all learning new information right now.
We are this body.
Yeah. Well, we're residing in this body.
But when we're a baby and when we're an old lady, from the fifth dimension, we are the long body. We are all of that.
Okay.
All of those ages with all of those changes in the body. And it's sort of described as the long body because everything is happening now.
Yeah.
So rather than being just in this one time frame, which is how we perceive
we're in every
it,
time frame.
and as in Vicky in this 44-year-old body right now with this nose piercing, this watch on this, I don't know, these eyebrows.
These eyebrows?
Because these eyebrows are going to be big.
Yeah, next video she's going to have some different eyebrows.
So, from the fifth dimension, I have all the eyebrows. I have the eyebrows from 15. I have the eyebrows from now. Because my eyebrows were alright when I was 15, you know.
Well, it was the 90s, overplucking.
I overplucked.
Really? The 90s have got a lot to answer for.
I said that to her yesterday when I left. I was like, oh my god, we're going to get eyebrows. I said, I haven't had any since I was 15. So, yeah, I've got all the eyebrows.
Okay.
Why was we talking about that?
I don't know. What are we talking? The long body.
So yeah, from the bigger picture where our guides are.
Yes, they can see everything. How
every time frame is in one long body.
As how it should be played out.
He doesn't mention this long body thing that often in the videos I've watched of him. So if I've got that a bit wrong, it's just something
We
how
might
I
not have
remembered
done
it.
that justice, I'm not sure.
No, I probably haven't.
Oh, I've just got this visual representation in my mind of like a super stretched out body with just tons of eyebrows currently. That's all I can see. I'm just focusing on the eyebrows.
I probably have got it a bit wrong, but I kind of get the gist.
The gist is, yeah, basically from their perspective, they know where we have chosen to go in our lifetime, and they can see how it should all plan out from now to then, and so they know how to nudge us in the right direction.
Yes.
But it's frustrating because the thing is, it's like obviously when we come into this life, we forget who we truly are, okay? And we need to start remembering who we are and what we're capable of. And, you know, with the guidance that's coming in, if we just listen to it, what actually could be possible, because there is no end to what we can create in this life. You know, we don't have to suffer. What causes the suffering a lot of the time is the fact that we're not listening and we're fighting against things because it might seem like a crazy thing to do, or because it's like the fear mentality comes in, like I can't afford to do that. So the whole reason we got into this conversation was because of a video I watched on Facebook this morning.
Yes.
And obviously that video, the purpose of the video was this man was he was selling his course. I can't remember his name. He seems like a really lovely guy. He seems very good at what he's doing. He's an energy healer. But obviously in the video there was a backstory about kind of how he got to where he was now. And I have been getting the nudges from my guides that I'm not listening to them recently. And there's things that I want, but obviously I'm not listening. So therefore I'm not getting the things I want because I'm not paying attention to what I should be doing, or I'm ignoring what I should be doing. So, for example, he's talking about in his video how he wanted to get a new car and he was going to get a second-hand car because that was in his price range. Okay. And every morning he meditates and he gets guidance from his guides. And this one morning, his guides are like, you need to go get a Prius, which is some American car. I don't know. An expensive American car and a brand new one. But he's like, well, I don't want a Prius. And they're like, just get the Prius. So he goes to the showroom, and Priuses apparently at this point were very difficult to get hold of because they were very wanted. Okay. So he went somewhere and they didn't have any. So he went somewhere else and they happened to have 3 Priuses. In a varying price range from the basic model to the most expensive. And he was like, well, which one do I get? And his guy's like, well, which one do you want? So he got the top range model, not knowing how he was going to afford it. He got it on finance. You know, he did work, but he worked part-time, so he was like, I'm going to afford it. But his guides are telling him to do it.
Yeah.
And then when he gets home, his guides are like, okay, you need to ring up work now and tell them that you want to go full time because you're about to get laid off soon. And he's like, what? He's like, okay, fine. So he emails his boss and, you know, he says, I'd like to go full time. He had a reason why he wanted to go full time, so they would let him do it. He said, I've just got this new car on finance. It's very expensive. I need to work.
So if he hadn't have got that car, they wouldn't have allowed him to go full time?
No, because he didn't have a reason.
Because the car gave him the reason.
The car gave him the reason to go full time.
Okay.
So he emailed me and said, I need to go full time now because I've got more more expenses to pay for. So she was like, yeah. Not a problem, we'll sort that out. He then went on holiday for a couple of weeks, and while he was on a holiday, he emailed his boss again and said, oh, you're right if I stay out here for a couple more days, I've got a couple more things I need to do. She was like, yeah, fine, not a problem. And then when he got back and was to return to work, he got a phone call to say that he'd been laid off, which his guide had already told him was going to happen. But because he'd upped his hours from part-time to full-time, instead of getting half the severance package he was entitled to, he was now getting a full-time severance package. And weirdly enough, the full-time severance package, that extra half of it, fully paid off this brand new car he just bought.
Right.
So he still got his original severance package he was going to get, and got a brand new car from it.
So he would have probably felt a little bit frightened.
He was like, how am I affording this?
Like, this is beyond my means. I'm not buying this car.
And I don't want to go full-time in work, so why am I saying that?
Yeah.
And I've been told I'm going to lose my job, what the hell?
Yeah. So that, it all worked out.
It all panned out beautifully, yeah. And then down to him wanting to start, I think he said he was a computer programmer or something. A successful one, but he didn't want to do that anymore. He wanted to be an energy healer full time, and so he wanted to start an energy healing business. And his guys were like, well, how much money do you want to make in this business? And he was like, well, I'd like to make $100,000 a year and give 10% away.
Okay.
And they were like, well, that's 2 requests. So his guides were like, how about you just give $10,000 away? And he's like, well, no. I'm not doing that. How about I give 100 free sessions of healing away, which are $100 each, which would account to 10,000.
Right.
And his guides were giving him the guidance that yes, that's a brilliant idea, but do it for healers. So you are giving healers free energy healing sessions.
Okay.
And for every healer you give this session to on your website, put a picture of them up there with a little thing about them, give them some free advertising on your website. And he was like, okay, fine.
Okay.
So he did that. And then from doing that, or for some reason, Google took a very big liking to him. So no matter what sort of modality you would type in,
he was the one that
popped up. So you would type in acupuncture in Sedona. He doesn't do acupuncture, but he was the first website that came up. You type in what did he say? You type in massage Sedona. His was the first website that came up. No matter what you put into the search engine, like in regards to the healing modality, his was the first website that came up every single time, and he got a phenomenal amount of clients. So by him giving away $10,000, even though it wasn't the actual money he gave away his time, which would equate to $10,000. He earned his $100,000 business, and then some.
Cool.
And again, by listening to his guides, and thinking, well, why would I give my, I need to earn money, but I'm giving my time away for free. It's my website. Why am I promoting other people on my website?
But it worked.
It worked, and it worked fantastically well.
It makes me think a little bit, though, of these conversations that we're having.
Mm-hmm.
How long will we be nudged, both of us?
Oh, a long time.
To record our conversations. How many conversations did we sit and have and then go, wow, that would have made a good YouTube video.
Many. I mean, we've been friends for a good 2-3, how long? Couple of years. 3 years. And we have had some of the deepest conversations ever with just the most phenomenal amount of information. Even we were like, what?
Yeah.
But we never filmed them. And we would constantly say, we should film these. And we never did. And even the couple of weeks prior when we said, okay, we're going to start filming these. We never did until one day you turned up at my house and I had it all set up and I was like,
and you were like,
don't
not
talk.
To talk.
Don't talk to me. I'm going to make you a coffee. Don't talk to me until we're sitting down and I can record it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I don't even know why that morning, I can't think what popped into my head that I was going to do it.
I don't know, but I remember coming in and I was like, what's all this? Because you'd got the camera set up, you've got your table all done, and I was like, what's going on here then? Is there something I don't know? And then you were like, don't talk to me. And I was like, okay.
You know what I think it was? I think because when we got up in the morning, we were having this quite deep conversation about something. Or
we weren't together?
No, but you voice noted me something. I can't remember
what. Was it a dream or something?
It's something, you'd voice noted me something and I was like, that is going to make a good conversation. I was like, no. Or was it me driving home? Because you were going to come over anyway. And then I was driving home and then something popped into my head. I can't remember. And I think
But you followed it.
Anyway, the point is I followed it
Yeah.
and did it and we started it.
And we have actually been consistent with this.
Yes.
So we said we'd do one a week.
One a week.
And we have done one a week.
Yeah.
This is our third one.
Yeah.
And it seems very easy. Not easy, I mean...
No, it does. And I really enjoy doing them because...
I enjoy doing them.
We're doing what we always do. We always have conversations like this. It's nothing new.
No. But I actually enjoy watching them back because you forget what you talk about.
You do.
And then when you listen back, you're like, oh.
Yeah, and I actually really enjoy editing them because I put it on like speed 200 and we sound like chipmunks. And I giggle the entire way through. It's so funny. But that's the thing though, something that's meant for you shouldn't be difficult.
It shouldn't be difficult.
And we've been trying to figure out, because obviously we have our healing business and it's all very new though, and we're trying to get it off the ground and trying to get more visibility.
Yeah.
Because we don't seem to get much visibility, and no matter what avenue we tried, it didn't seem to pan out very well.
And we actually had that conversation, why isn't it working?
Yeah.
Because what we've got to offer is, I believe, quite amazing.
It is amazing, to be fair.
And so it's like, well, why are we not
Website coming soon.
Yeah. Why are we not getting the visibility?
Yeah. And it's like, for ages they've been telling us to do this, and this is one way of getting more visibility, but also we've been told by our guides many times that there is knowledge that we have that we're supposed to share.
Yes.
And what is one of the biggest platforms you can use without really having to spend any money? Because, you know, obviously if we're not earning a lot of money, we don't have a huge amount of money to put out. YouTube.
Exactly, yeah.
And
it's where I've kind of been looking, before we came together and before we started our business, YouTube was always the place I would go to find this kind of material.
So it was always there in our faces.
Yeah.
And that's what they say a lot of the time.
And it's strange because I'm not the most technical person and I'm not the best at social media. That's more your sort of avenue.
That's good on me then.
Yeah, it's good job you're here.
You're the organiser because I'm like a bloody squirrel. I'm like,
ah! But even though I've never really, when I say I don't really understand social media as well, I don't just mean as in creating it. I mean, I've never really been somebody that's on Facebook a lot.
Yeah, you're not a huge social media fan.
I'm not. And one day, just before I met you, my son came round, the older one that I can't remember his age. And he doesn't live at home anymore. And he came to visit a couple of years ago.
Yes, and since.
I can't remember how old he is. And he's probably one of the, bless him, I love him to bits, but he's probably one of the most, I don't know how to describe it, but he gets probably the most annoyed with me. Mm-hmm. So if I talk about, he's doing doctor training and all that, he's going to be a doctor and stuff, but he's in university. Well, he's just finished actually, and he works for the NHS. And if I bring up anything like to do with, I can't say too much, but health and things like that, he's like, Mother, you can't say things like that. And I'm like, can't I?
I can.
And he does get a bit irritated with me. And if I bring up, he worked in a mental health unit for a long time as well. And if I say anything about the guides, like my guide's called Thomas, I'm doing this because Thomas has told me to. He's like, Mother, you really need to stop because you're going to get yourself locked up.
Well, we used to say this all the time. If people heard our conversations, we would get locked up.
Yeah.
Because
Luke is the first one to say anything. In my family, he's the first one to say anything like that to me. And if I try and speak to him about what we do in our business, I can tell, bless him, that he's making an effort to listen, but I can tell really he's thinking, what the bloody hell are you on about?
Yeah,
you know
they just get that glazed look in their eyes.
Yeah, but he actually said to me a few years back, he said, this spiritual stuff that you're into, and I went, yeah. And he said, why don't you just go on YouTube and watch people's videos? He says, there's plenty on there, you know. Mum went, what? I said, what do you mean?
You didn't know?
I had no idea. And he was like, if you go into YouTube and you just type in spirituality, he said, you will find so many videos. He said,
from the least spiritual person.
From the least spiritual person he is. And he said, go and have a look. He said, you'll be amazed. He said, go and see.
Now you're an addict.
And I am addicted.
Literally, she is. She's got, have you seen this? Sends me links. Watch this, watch that. You'll love this.
I remember when I first learned how to send a link.
Oh!
I mean, that was a big moment for me.
Was that a big moment for you? But maybe because at that point in time, you might not have been listening to your guides. Maybe they were nudging you.
So they use Luke.
So they use Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
love that
sometimes
if
if we
told him
don't listen, they will use other avenues.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've not been listening, so they sent me on... It's not normally something I'd watch. Yes, it's an area of interest because he's an energy healer. But I don't watch these videos where they sell stuff because... You know, if I need something, I'll go and find it myself. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I stopped and I watched it. Mm-hmm. It's 35 minutes long. I didn't watch all of it. I watched like about 15 minutes until they started talking about, you know, the actual thing they were selling. But yeah, for some reason, they were like, stop and watch. And I did. And I'm like, yes, okay, I'm not listening. I need to start listening more. Because I think I'm just making my life difficult. But then I moan about it, and they're like, you're not listening.
Yeah.
It's your own fault.
Yeah.
And this is the thing.
I do think as well, because I'm being nudged. I'm getting some guidance.
What are you being nudged about?
They keep prompting me in my mind. We need to talk about the darker side of guidance.
I love the dark side.
So...
Welcome to the dark side. Yeah, because everything's not... love and light. Everything is duality.
And everything happens for a reason.
And everything happens for a reason. And to be honest, I quite like the dark side of life.
Well, I do too. But then I must admit there's times in my life looking back where I think, oh, I'm glad that's over. You know?
Yeah.
But this is what I think they're trying to get me to talk about. So, coming back to Anthony Peake. I just think he's a...
We're gonna have to get anybody know how to contact Anthony Peake because you'd literally you'd make her entire life if you know how to do that.
We will have him on one day.
Will we?
We will interview
Are we
him.
manifesting that?
Manifesting
We're manifesting that. Guys, nudge us.
I just love his work, so check him out.
I will put a link in the bio to his channel.
I don't know if he's doing it anymore, you know. I'm sure I saw a Facebook post from him the other day saying that he was going to have to stop doing his... No, I think he's leaving his YouTube channel up. He's not taking it down, but there'll be no more.
Why?
Because he called them incons or something, where he had conversations where he would interview other people.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. I didn't read the whole post. But he's not doing any more interviews. But he's not taking down the channel. So and he's got some amazing interviews on there.
Yeah. So if you're into like really cool perspectives.
But he does the science, and I must say that because that is something that he always says, and I do need to respect him and include that when I say, because one thing he always promotes about himself is that he doesn't just look at spirituality.
No, yeah, science comes
the whole like woo-woo side of it. very much the science. So he kind of proves a lot of the spiritual stuff through
Yeah.
the science, which is amazing.
But I've always said this. I have literally always said that once spirituality and science merge together, this world's going to be phenomenal.
I mean, I've always felt like that. I love the science as well. I don't always understand it, and I'm going to be honest, because my brain doesn't work in that way, but I still really resonate with it and enjoy it, even though I struggle sometimes to understand it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yes, going back to what we were talking about, because
they're like jolting us backwards and forwards today. I don't know, because obviously we run these video chats. We come into it not knowing what we're going to talk about. We allow our guides to guide us, and today they're like snapping us backwards and forwards.
They are. So he talks about what he calls the Daemon, which is
the Daemon,
your higher self.
Your higher self.
And how your higher self, and he speaks about how we repeat the same life. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you live the same life again and again and again.
Yeah.
I presume until you get it right, until you get it how you really want it to be.
Is it till you get it right, or is it like from a video I watched the other day, until you turn around and go, you're not guilt tripping me into doing this anymore?
Could well be.
With the whole false white light theory. But before we get into that, you carry on with yours.
So you live this life. So using me as an example, I live the life of Vicky, and I've lived this life before, and I'll live it again, maybe. And keep repeating it. But in each time, so the first time I lived my life as Vicky, which I don't feel this is the first time, I really don't. But the first time I would have lived this life, I wouldn't have had a clue. My higher self would not have had a clue what was to come. So it's a bit like, if we compare it to a video game, the character in the video game, which is me, is guided through the game by the player, which is the higher self, the Daemon.
The Daemon.
And they don't know, they're going up a corridor, blah, 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 blah. And there's a room on the side, and they're like, oh, the higher self is, should we take I think he calls it the Eidolon.
The what?
Eidolon, I think.
Eidolon?
Eidolon. I don't know if... I might have got that wrong as well. Sometimes I don't listen well enough, but... Anyway.
Come to our channel.
The character. We'll call it the character. Yeah. So me.
Oh, okay.
So
you're talking about the dude, the you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the higher self, which is the game player, guides the character.
It makes you think of Sims.
Yeah, which is me.
Sims, yeah.
So he guides me, the character, through the game. He's never played this life before, so he hasn't got a clue what's up the road, up the corners, anything. And he goes, oh, there's a corridor there, that looks a bit intriguing, we'll go and have a look in there. And he goes in, sends me in, and I go in, and I get eaten by a monster.
Okay.
So I die.
Okay.
And then I live the life again. So the higher self playing the game
and
again.
He's like, do not go down that corridor.
But this time, my higher self, the game player, knows that if I go down that corridor, I've either got to fight and beat that monster, or just not go down that corridor.
But are you levelled up enough to fight that monster?
Exactly. Or do I just not go down that corridor and see what's a little bit more in my life, go a bit further this time by avoiding that corridor?
Okay.
Yeah, not taking that chance. So he goes, and I carry on. And then we keep playing it, okay? And your higher self knows what's going to happen. So I'll give you a bit it's quite an interesting story. So I will tell you one of the stories that he tells about his life and what happened to him.
Okay.
And again, so thank you for watching episode 3, the first part of this discussion. Join us again next week for episode 4, where we do the second part of our 3-hour conversation.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hope you've gained some different perspectives, learnt along with us.
And remember to subscribe so that you know when
the next part drops, because it gets more juicier as we go. So, see you back here next week. Yeah. You didn't say bye-bye.
I was about to say bye-bye and I stopped myself.
Okay, cool. Right, now you've put it away.